It's just gone lunchtime. This is All Angles here on eNCA. Good afternoon. I'm Masakhoratlacha. It is that time of the day when we give you an update on how far some of the stories we've been following for you throughout the course of the day have advanced. Here's your lunchtime update. Our reporters are out and about bringing you the latest on today's top stories. I'm joined by Silindelo Masikane in the Free State. Siphamandla Goge is in KZN and Manqoba Mchunu is on the streets of Johannesburg. Sli, I'm going to start with you. In Magudumana has to wait until next Tuesday for the judgment in her appeal application. You spoke to a lawyer after court proceedings this morning. Take us through what happened in court today and what he said.
Well, what we saw today were arguments being presented to Judge Philip Lobso, who, of course, was the original judge who heard her application back in June, where she was claiming that she was abducted by law enforcement officials from South Africa and essentially forcefully brought back to South Africa. And in that particular application, that main application, it was dismissed with costs, where Judge Lobso had said that while he agreed with Magudumana that in fact her deportation was an extradition, he however believed, or what was presented to him was that she had consented to being brought back to South Africa. And the main argument brought in her appeal by her legal team was the fact that was it really consent, was it lawful consent that the state is claiming Magudumana gave in order to be brought back to South Africa. And of course her lawyers were drilling into some of the case law, and of course the state in opposition, in particular the NPA, the police, as well as Home Affairs, sticking to their guns, saying that Dr. Magudumana wanted to be brought back, that she told anyone and everyone who would listen that she wanted to come back to South Africa to her children. We had an opportunity then to speak to her legal representative, Advocate Mchunu, on what they believe their prospects are of success in order for them to be able to take this application to the SCA. This is what he had to say.
Legal issues were properly ventilated by our team. I still battle to really, comprehend the notion of informed consent when you are alleged to have told to whom it may concern that you want to go home. To all and sundry, still, it's still bizarre that to all and sundry can constitute an informed consent. We have, in my view, we have done enough to really, have the matter properly ventilated at the SCA. We have the view that another court may reason differently with regards to the issue of consent.
Now, Sipa, you are keeping track on the N3 highway following the torching of more than 20 trucks in less than a week, soldiers being deployed, 3 people being arrested just yesterday. What's the situation currently looking like?
Well, in KwaZulu-Natal, on the strategic N3 route which connects KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng and the Free State, we are continuing to see the deployment of soldiers. It's a well-coordinated effort between law enforcement agencies and security structures. We see police together with soldiers manning the highway here, particularly the N3 Marian Hill Toll Plaza just outside of Durban CBD, as well as Moy Plaza in Moy River. That's where we are at the moment. Bongamkize is showing you this setup. It appears as if it will be here for a while as we see soldiers patrolling the highway as the normal business of trucks transiting through this Moy Plaza continues unhindered. But people still pay attention and interest on what is happening here. Onlookers are telling us that indeed what is happening is worrying. In KwaZulu-Natal, as we know that in Mpumalanga there were 3 people that were arrested and more arrests are imminent according to the police. What is happening in KwaZulu-Natal, according to the Premier of the province, that is Nomusa Dube Ncube, there are 9 persons of interest that are being followed by the police. And of course, what is also more shocking and worrying is the fact that there are more than 100 criminal cases that are related to previous incidents of torching of the trucks in KwaZulu-Natal since 2018 that remain unresolved. All of that transpired yesterday when we pushed the Premier of the province to say this has led to economic sabotage in the province and in the country. It's been happening for a very long time. It peaked in KwaZulu-Natal in 2018. What has your government done about that together with law enforcement agencies? Well, she confirmed that indeed it's worrying that there appears to be very little progress, if at all, regarding those criminal cases. Let's take a listen to her.
There are 107 cases that have been investigated so far, or that are being investigated so far by the police for the previous incidents, and for these incidents, investigations are ongoing. We are awaiting to get the briefing on the update of what it is that is happening and what it is that we need to do in order to work with all law enforcement agencies to enforce the laws. And you would have seen that with our cameras that are on the roads, with municipal cameras and all other infrastructure that was used, that is why it was easy to identify some of those and get those investigations and imminent arrests that are pending.
All right, Manqoba, let me come to you. Of course, Joburg residents who didn't have water are meant to start seeing some trickle back in their taps after Rand Water repair started on Tuesday evening. But what are some of the affected businesses saying about the loss of revenue?
Oh, Maseko, I can tell you that, in fact, many areas are still affected by the water outages. In fact, the greater Randburg area and Roodepoort, parts of Roodepoort have still been affected. They don't have water as we speak. We went to quite a number of areas in Randburg, Craighill Park, Windsor, which has also been affected. And residents there are still, Maseko, quite stressed because there is no water. There were preparations, some of them saying that they had filled up the buckets, but it doesn't seem that the preparations that they put in place are enough as far as that is concerned. But Joburg Water confirming earlier on that the repairs, the maintenance work by Rand Water has been completed. But what they are saying is that it's still going to take roughly 5 to 14 days for some areas for water to be restored. We know the Ekenhof system, areas that are fed by the Ekenhof system, those are still largely affected. There's still no water in those particular areas. And also the Zwartkoppies system, which feeds Greater Johannesburg as well as parts of the south of Johannesburg, that has also been affected. There are areas that are still without water. But businesses, of course, are suffering a huge deal with the water outages, but also with load shedding, because you understand, Maseko, that many need both water and electricity to function. And earlier on, we went to one of the shops that trades in water, that sells water, and the owner telling us that it has been a hive of activity because of panic buying, and that's how much people are concerned about these water outages. But take a listen to what the owner of Manzi store had to say.
It's been panic buying since last week. As soon as we got that message from Joburg Water, people have been panic buying. We've been stocking up containers because in case the water runs out, but we have a reserve in our shop, in our factory. So we've been able to cope with the demand. Some shops have run dry in the areas that's been affected, but fortunately they've diverted some of the customers to our shops because we still have a reserve of water.
All right, that was your eNCA lunchtime update from all angles with reporters Manqoba, Mchunu, Siphamandla, Goge and Silindelo Masikane. Thank you very much, team. Let's leave it there for now.